Afternoon, Charles. Come
G'day,
through
mate,
this
how are
way.
you?
Very well, thanks.
Excellent.
How's things?
Good, good.
Yeah?
Great to see you again.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, since we spoke last,
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago, I've had a look at your situation, and I really believe that we can give you some valuable advice and some key take-home points. Basically, I've written the agenda for the meeting behind me. So we're just going to run through it in a sequential fashion.
Yeah, sure.
I just want to discuss a few different aspects of your current position and see how we can improve on that.
Sure.
And any questions that you have along the way, just give me a yell and we can just stop and talk about it there.
Okay.
So one of the key things you wanted to look at was getting some insurance.
Mhm.
So I'll talk about insurance cover first, some of the cover that I've recommended, and also how you're going to fund the cost of the premiums and some of the premiums, because I know that's a big concern for some people when they're looking at insurance. Next, I'll just talk about your cash flow. You're doing great, like you're saving a bit and that sort of thing. You have a good net income, but I just think we can structure things a little bit better. It'll just help your money work a little bit harder for you, I believe.
Okay. We're talking major changes, or?
No, not really. It's actually fairly simple. It's just about not using that credit card so much, but I'll get to that as we poke through. Your superannuation, I know you wanted to consolidate them. We've got a plan which will align it with the risk profile we believe is suitable for you.
Sure.
Paying off your mortgage, I know that's a big thing, so we're gonna discuss that and when that can get paid off. Then we'll just touch on estate planning, and I'll give you some documents. I know Diana couldn't make it today, so that's okay. Like, thank you so much for coming in.
That's
and,
right. I need to run through it with her.
Yeah, of course. I'll leave all this with you,
Sure.
and you can go see her and
That'd be
discuss
good.
that. And also, if she has any questions, I'm always available on the phone or via email. Just she can give me a call anytime.
Excellent.
All right. Well, I'll just jump straight in.
Mm-hmm.
This is the advice document that we've prepared for you. Basically, just has all the content on the wall behind me in a lot more detail. So I'm just going to explain some of the key points of it and some of the alternative strategies we've considered for you, and just get a bit of your feedback, see how you feel about it, and whether you think it's right for you. And yeah, I think we'll really be able to help you out. It's just about putting a plan in place and staying accountable to stay on that plan.
Well, that's like as we discussed. I mean, life insurance for me was a consideration that we wanted to look at. But there's also been other things happened since, and I've had a good friend of mine for many years, who was involved in an accident and is now in quite a bit of trouble as far as not having any income protection. So I'm not sure what covers you had that you're going to put forward, but if you could give us some advice on those, it'd be great.
Yeah, of course. That's one of the key things we look to do. I know you had just considered life insurance, and that's sort of the main one you wanted to stick to. But it really is important to consider other types of insurances. It's just really considering the need and what you would do if you weren't able to work, how you'd be able to meet the bills. Having this happen to your friend, while it's obviously an awful tragedy, sometimes it can be a good eye-opener. And it just allows people to sort of reflect on their own position and sort of reconsider their own sort of insurances. So we'll start with the insurance cover that I have recommended. I've got it all detailed here.
Oh, so you've got some other policies to recommend?
Yeah,
I
I
do.
do.
That's lucky.
So I've just put it in a table format, just a little bit clearer and easier to read.
Sure.
With your life insurance, I've recommended life and TPD insurance. So they're going to be linked covers, and the majority is actually fortunately able to be funded by your superannuation fund. A great thing about that is it doesn't impact your cash flow, and the premiums for the life and any occupation TPD are actually tax deductible to the super fund.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the insurer will pass back a 15% rebate. Well, not all insurers do it, but the insurers we have recommended do pass back that 15%. Just makes the ongoing costs a little bit more manageable. Jumping over the page, I've recommended that you take out trauma insurance as well as income protection.
As well as.
Yeah, they serve separate needs. So basically, with your trauma insurance, you're going to get a lump sum payment upon diagnosis of a critical condition. So that means sort of stroke, heart attack, cancer, things like that. The insurer isn't worried about your recovery time. If you get diagnosed, you can just get a cash injection to help you pay for those medical bills.
Okay.
It'll alleviate some of the pressure with your home loan.
Yeah.
You just pay for that. And it just allows you to get some of the best medical treatment out there, because if you are diagnosed with something like cancer, that sort of thing, which is a fairly common trauma claim, it can have a big impact on your life. So just having a bit of peace of mind, making sure the money's there to assist you while you've got bigger and more important things to worry about, just is a little bit of peace of mind for you, I think.
And that's paid pretty quickly, is it? So you can...
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it'll just be a cash injection upon diagnosis. So the insurer isn't worried about recovery times for you or anything like that. If you get diagnosed, just get the doctors to confirm that with the insurance company. There'll be some claim forms, and bang, it hits your bank account tax free.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah. So income protection, yeah, your friend will most likely be using this, or have a need for this at least. If you're unable to work, it's just going to allow you to continue to meet those bills, and you're able to cover up to 75% of your income.
Okay. Yeah.
The premiums for that are tax deductible, which is excellent. And yeah, I've recommended a to age 65 benefit period and a 30-day waiting period. That just means that you're going to get paid fairly quickly, and also if something serious does happen to you, you're going to get paid all the way up through until you're expecting retirement.
Oh, so just 30-day wait, and then it starts, and then I'm
That's
65.
right.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
I've recommended the same insurances for Diana, but I'll discuss those with her over the phone as well, unless you have any questions about that.
No, that's okay for now. I think she can have a read of it. And
Yeah,
come back to you.
for sure. All right. Well, I might just tick that one off. Premiums, excellent. Now, with your current cash flow, I know that you're using your credit card to meet your current living expenses.
Yeah, we tend to use it a fair bit.
Yeah, well, and everyone does. It's just that when you don't pay it off, some of the benefits of that strategy are lost. Basically, it just means you're paying interest on the actual final account balance each month, which is an additional cost to you. Yeah. I've had a look into it. Your current credit card interest rate is 16%, which is fairly high. What I propose you look at doing is utilising the funds in your offset account, because the funds sitting in your offset account are saving you 6% interest. But if your credit card's sitting over here at sort of 16% interest, there's a differential there. You can basically save on the difference just by paying off that credit card and only using it for emergencies, I'd recommend. That way you don't have to worry about have I paid it off, what day of the month it is, that sort of thing. And if you haven't already have you got a bank account for your offset account, so you can just sort of meet your you can just access money from your offset account?
Yeah.
Well, instead of using a credit card, just use that card. It'll basically just mean that your salaries get paid into your offset account, you meet your expenses from your offset account, and you're not getting charged interest.
So just use the card rather than the actual credit card.
Exactly.
And then we're saving ourselves 10% on interest
Exactly.
or something over that. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
No, that will save us a fair bit. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's just a quick, easy way of saving a bit of money and making your funds work a little bit harder for you without paying so much in interest.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good, don't it?
Offset account. With your expenses, I know that you were looking to give your son, Adam, $20,000 for a car.
Yeah.
And you're also looking to go to
And our
France.
holiday, don't forget our
Yeah, absolutely. I would never forget your holiday to France in the European summer. No, I've done quite a bit of cash flow projections. I've taken into a lot of things into account, including insurance premiums, your superannuation, and the funds that you want to have available for retirement. And I just want to run by a strategy across you, and I've talked to Diana about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just to bring some of those costs down a small amount, so that while you can still help out your son with the car and still go on a European holiday, it's just not going to be such a financial burden at a time where you kind of need those funds to start putting towards your retirement.
So you think we should sort of cut back a little bit now?
I think
And
so.
then,
Yeah.
what sort of, how much are you talking? What do you?
Yeah.
I want a good holiday.
Well, you can have a fantastic holiday. $50,000 was kind of the ballpark you were thinking of.
Yeah.
I've projected that you guys are currently only able to afford about $30,000 in 12 months' time.
Okay.
As for your car for Adam, it's going to be, I was considering proposing meeting him halfway, so giving him $10,000 to go towards the car, and he funds the other $10,000. We've found a lot of clients that have used that strategy, just find that children sort of get a better understanding of sort of making money and then using that to put towards something. It just teaches them a few sort of life lessons, and
Sure.
at the same time you're still able to help them out and be good and giving parents. So that's something I think you guys should consider. The outcome of that is you can give your son $10,000 this year, and you're going to have a net positive cash flow of about $8,500. So that's going to boost, like, you're going to have an extra $8,500 in your bank account at the end of the year. Post that, by spending $30,000 on your friend's holiday, you're going to have to pull out an extra sort of $10,000 from your offset account. While the net difference isn't a huge amount, just by reducing those costs, it's going to make it more affordable for you.
Yeah, man, I mean, look, we do want to look in the future and get things sorted out for down the track. So if we've got to cut a little bit here and there, then that's what we've got to do.
Yeah. I have done cash flow projections of if you were to go on a friend's holiday next year, it cost $50,000, and also give your son $20,000 this year. Basically, this resulted in unfunded net cash flow. This basically just means, unfortunately, you don't have the funds there to do it.
Okay.
If you were to be able to afford it, you'd have to pull money off your mortgage or something like that, which is a terrible thing.
We don't want to do that, mate. So if you've worked out that we can have a look at it, then that'll give us an idea of where we need to go. So
for sure. Expenses. Have a chat to Diana about that as well.
I think
because I know having to cut back, like you are looking forward to it. I want you guys to go, and I want you to have a great time.
Yeah.
But I think
we want to go and have a great time.
I'm sure you do. But just with a vision for the future, I think it's something that you should definitely consider fairly strongly.
I think Diane will back it, mate, because that is the main goal.
Yeah.
Is retirement and looking after what we're doing. So not a problem if you've done that. I'll show her, and I'm sure she'll be in agreement.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Very glad to hear it. Next, your superannuation.
Superannuation.
Yeah.
3 different accounts.
I know.
Save me.
Everyone has a few here and there. Honestly, it's very normal. The only downside is it's hard to keep a track of.
I can't access it.
Yeah, you've had a bit of trouble with that. And also, trying to work out how much you have in each, how much each is earning, it becomes a bit of a nightmare. We have recommended you consolidate these into one account. The account we've recommended actually provides really comprehensive reporting facilities and online access. You can jump online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can see how your super's tracking, what it's invested in, what your net capital gain is. You can manage your position a little bit better.
Because that's what I need to do. I can't see what's happening with it where it is at the moment, so I need something that can give me good access so I can find out what's going on. Yeah.
For sure. And I know that you're in the current default investment options for your funds. We're going to look to diversify that, and the account we've recommended has over 120 different investment options. We've recommended that you have a diversified portfolio of 14 of those, and it's going to be invested in a balanced growth model portfolio. Now we've found that
growth.
Yeah, you were looking more towards moderate.
I thought that's what we were sort of...
Yeah, you were sort of thinking a split of about 30% growth, 70% defensive. The risk is you have quite a while into your retirement. Let's be honest, you have a fair few working years left. Mm-hmm. You're not that old yet. The risks of taking a lower investment risk now can really impact your account balance at retirement. Basically, because your funds are going to be invested for such a long period of time, while you're worried about market volatility and fluctuations in your account, you tend to find that over a period of time, the higher risk you take on will result in a higher account balance. The risks of taking on too little investment risk basically just means that we don't believe that you will have the funds available to meet your retirement needs.
Does that mean what are you saying, I'd have to work longer or something?
You'd have to work longer. Well, there's a few different ways. You could either work longer, you could spend less, or you could consider one of one of the major things some people have had to do is downsize their home. I know you haven't considered that, but you might have to sort of sell your home and move into something a little bit more modest if you want to be able to keep living the lifestyle you want to lead in retirement.
Well, I mean, I don't really want to do that. So, I mean, this risk that moving up to the next level, I mean, it's still going to be safe.
Well, that's right, absolutely. Yeah, okay. You're well diversified. You've got a bunch of Australian equities, international equities. Okay. You also have quite a bit of diversified fixed interest. There's some property in there as well. We've had a lot of clients invested into this portfolio, and same situation as you. We've sort of recommended a slightly higher amount of investment risk. But they've been more than willing to stick to that once it's been implemented, and they've seen the benefits of it.
And they've been able to retire and
absolutely.
On time. And
that's right. And with the lifestyle they want to live. Now, you guys have told me that you don't want to cut back on your expenditure.
Not a great.
No, and I've modelled it, and you don't have to. But in order to be able to meet some of those expenses, you are going to have to take on a little bit more risk now, and the trade-off is higher returns later.
Okay. Yeah. Well, mate, if you think it's safe and it's going to make a difference to us down the track, then it's we'll run with it.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm very glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. Now, with your current superannuation, we're going to have to boost it up for you to be able to meet your retirement needs. Now, by boosting it up, we've recommended a strategy that's both tax effective and considers your needs in the long term. Now, I'll explain this briefly on the whiteboard.
Sure.
The easiest way to kind of explain it is, this is your salary, which is currently getting paid to you. Now, on the way, you are getting taxed at your marginal tax rate, 39%. Currently, your employer is paying 9.5% of your salary into superannuation. Basically,
guaranteed.
Yeah, superannuation guaranteed.
Yeah.
So that's getting paid in at 9.5% of your salary, and the tax on that, the contributions tax, is 15%. What you're able to do is, rather than getting your salary paid into your bank account, have it directed into your superannuation, where instead of 39%, it's only going to get taxed at 15%. You're able to do this as long as you're working and you're meeting concessional contribution limits every year up until your retirement. Now, one of the things we've proposed is, obviously you're going to have a fair few large outlays of cash between Adam's car and then your friend's holiday. We're looking at starting the salary sacrifice arrangement in August 2017. Now, that way you'll be back from your holiday, you won't need as much funds accumulating in your bank account.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then from 2017 onwards, forego some of your salary now, put it into superannuation, have it taxed concessionally, let it earn interest in that account at a concessional rate, and just build up those funds for retirement.
Okay. So if this is put on top of my salary, isn't it? The 9.5 is on top of my salary, and you want me just to put a certain amount on salary sacrifice to cut back on the tax.
That's right. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
One of the important things I need to highlight with you is, if you start salary sacrificing, your employer by law is only required to pay you 9.5% on that reduced amount of salary. So what I highlight to clients is, when you do set up this arrangement with your employer, ensure that the 9.5% that's getting paid to you is on your full salary. So that's just going to ensure your superannuation guarantee amount stays the same, while you're also chucking in a whole bunch for salary sacrifice.
Okay, sure.
Now, with the salary sacrifice arrangement, in 2017 is when I recommend you both start it. I'm going to look to get Diana hitting her cap, which is currently 35 grand a year. So she'll salary sacrifice. So basically that plus the SG contributions, she's going to be getting $35,000 into super each year.
So that's the maximum she can put in?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
For you, in that 1 year, it's going to be $12,000. It's less because you're going to still have to fund some of those expenses. So you need a bit of cash built up in your bank account. So by doing just $1,000 a month, nice, clean, easy figure, you can still boost up your superannuation savings for that year. Each year beyond that, so starting from 2018, we're saying reach your cap, which is 30 grand a year. So SGs plus salary sacrifice, just pump as much as you can into superannuation now.
Yes.
It's only going to be paying the 15% tax, and it's going to do you a great deal in retirement. It's going to boost up that superannuation, and it'll just mean that you're going to have the funds that you need for retirement.
So it's going to save us 25% in tax?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then, I mean, obviously with those figures there, we're still going to be able to afford to, you've budgeted it all into the overall
Absolutely.
plan, so you can still... Okay.
What I've got here is cash flow projections.
Okay.
Just basically just sort of outlines year by year, every single year, where you're at, how much you can afford, what your expenses are, what your income is. So as you can see, we've kept your expenses constant throughout the whole process.
Okay, yeah.
What we've also got coming in is your salaries. Now, over here in 2017, basically, this is your $12,000 getting chucked in, and then Diana has the $30,000 getting thrown in. What you can also see is your net cash flow. Now, as you can see, your net cash flow is always still going to be positive. That means you can throw this into super, you can meet your current living expenses, while you're not going to have a huge amount building up outside of the superannuation environment, i.e. by your bank account, you're still going to be able to pay off your mortgage before Diana's retirement, but I'll get to that soon.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a really tax effective strategy to help build those retirement savings and let you achieve the goals that you want to achieve in retirement.
I mean, if I can save some money without having to do anything...
Well, correct. It's just a strategy, a tax effective strategy, and it's a long-term vision.
Okay.
Yeah. So now with your risk profile, yeah, we've had a bit of a look at it, and taking on a bit more risk now is going to mean greater funds in retirement. You're pretty comfortable with that?
What we've covered. Yeah. Look, that's all right, mate. I mean, I understand you know the way that you've explained it and what will, you know, the advantages of it long term.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have a talk to the boss, obviously.
Absolutely.
And see what she says. But I, as I said, we've both got the same goal. We want to make sure that we're covered in retirement. So I'm fairly sure that, you know, if you're saying it's going to be safe and work for us, then that's what we're on with. But
excellent.
not a problem.
Now, in these cash flow projections, I'll just skip over a page.
Sure.
Now, I know that you're an engineer, so you love all the detail, knowing how everything works. As I was saying, with pumping your money into superannuation, your net cash flow is going to be fairly stagnant for a long period of time. That's just while you're paying down the mortgage, you're still meeting your living expenses, you're having money paid into superannuation. Just means there's not a huge amount building up left over outside superannuation. This is the case up until these 3 years, directly before Diana's retirement. In these 3 years, you guys have a fairly high accumulated series of funds outside of super that's just hitting your bank account. Now, instead of it sitting outside of super in the bank account, what I'm proposing that you do is throw it into Diana's superannuation. As she's closer to retirement, basically what she can do is contribute it to super as a non-concessional contribution.
Mm-hmm.
So basically that just means she's already paid 39% tax on that. She's on the same marginal tax rate as you. She can then throw it in superannuation. But the benefit of putting it into superannuation rather than holding it outside super is it's just going to, any future earnings on that money is going to be taxed concessionally. And then she's able to roll it over into a pension environment where she can draw a tax-free income stream after the age of 60. So we're saying retirement at age 62 is absolutely feasible. And it'll just allow her to build up those earnings. Any earnings on those funds will also be tax-free in the pension environment. So yeah, just sort of in the years immediately preceding her retirement, just boosts her account balance, just lets her draw down on that throughout retirement. Just puts her in really good stead for the next sort of 20 odd years. You guys have, as you've stated, great genes. Your life expectancy is actually quite long. You're going to live till at least sort of 86, as you said, and Diana 92, 91, 92. So yeah, just looking toward the future, just getting your money in a tax-effective environment, making it work as hard as you can now, is really going to put you in good stead. So with your mortgage, it's all going to be paid off by Diana's retirement at age 62. Now, I'm saying each of you are more than able to retire at age 62. I know that's an additional sort of 2 years on what you were thinking.
A little longer than we thought.
It is. But in the scheme of things, if that means that you're going to have enough money to retire on, and you're not going to have to worry about, or not going to have to rely on sort of the age pension, things like that, I think it's worthwhile. A couple of extra years in the long run.
Well, we're still young enough, and if we say that life expectancy, we've got plenty of time to enjoy ourselves after 62.
For sure, and as you both said in the fact find interview, you love your jobs, you're having a great time, you can't imagine sort of leaving just yet anyway, so if you guys are sort of comfortable with that, we can retain kind of the balanced growth risk profile and still have you meet your retirement needs.
Okay.
Alright. I know you're originally sort of saying have the mortgage paid off in kind of 5 years, or also as a more loose time frame before retirement, but absolutely before retirement that's going to be fine.
Yep.
I'm just going to touch on estate planning really quickly. I know I mentioned this in the initial interview. So with your wills and enduring power of attorney, have you contacted a solicitor at all yet about any of that?
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So yeah, I'll reiterate some of the things I wanted to touch on with your will, just about getting that document in place. Just ensures that your funds are directed in line with your wishes and to your beneficiaries, making sure it goes to where you want to go, when it want it to go to, basically. Enduring power of attorney, that's just if something happens to you and you're incapacitated for whatever reason, it just allows someone else to make those important decisions for you on your behalf, just to make sure that your best interests are always catered for. Another thing I wanted to quickly touch on, testamentary trust. With the testamentary trust, basically it's just a trust that sits dormant underneath your will. Basically, there's some great tax advantages and asset protection advantages of a testamentary trust. One example I generally use with clients is, say, if you were to pass away, that testamentary trust will have just been sitting there, but activates upon your death, and it can just contain some of those assets of yours in that trust. And basically, some of the advantages of that is they can then be paid down to beneficiaries, and the tax consequences of that can be managed over the years. And if your wife, say, gets remarried, something like that, it's just going to protect those assets in case of a future divorce, things like that.
Oh, so if she was to separate with someone who she married after my passing,
exactly.
Then it protects the assets for her.
And it's just going to help protect Adam, make sure that there's sort of funds available there for who you intended, your wife and Adam.
Okay, alright.
Additionally, with your superannuation, during the application process, we're going to implement a binding beneficiary. That's just basically, because this superannuation isn't actually an estate asset, just means it doesn't really form part of your will. One of the key things with nominating a beneficiary, it also just speeds up the process. So, say you pass away, there's a binding nomination on file. The trustees are bound by your decision. Basically just means that they're going to pay the funds directly to your wife as soon as they
cuts all the argument or any
exactly, yeah.
Or
it means it can't be
issues.
Contested, things like that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've covered a lot, and I know you've only got half an hour. You've got to duck off. So I've got some product disclosure statements here for you. So this one is for the insurance, and this one's for your super. We're leaving Diana's super alone at the moment. Now, do you have any questions of me or anything like that?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything that I needed to do today.
Yep.
Obviously, we touched base with the solicitor, but I wanted to have a chat with you first about the estate planning, so that's good that we've covered that. The plans you put forward for the salary sacrificing seems feasible, and as you say, if it's better for us in the long run, then we're well and truly going to have a look at it, that's for sure. And the insurance.
Yeah.
So look, I'll take it all home, run through it.
This is yours. I'll give you that.
Sure.
Basically, a fair bit of detail in there about the strategies we have recommended, the benefits of that. And you have any questions? Yeah, as I said, always available on the phone, email, let me know.
Okay, I appreciate the work you put in, mate. You put in a lot of work there.